All right, again, some surprise when you look at the allegation here. Authorities, I think, prosecutors are surprised. Joining us now, criminal defense attorney Anna Yum. Anna, are you surprised?
Hi, Mike. Yes. Well, I'm very surprised, actually, because if you think about it, these types of cases, when we're talking about either first degree or second degree murder, a lot of times the judges will keep the bail at $1 million, $2 million, sometimes no bail. So for the judge in this situation to release her on her own recognizance without even having to post bail is extremely surprising to me, especially because of the allegations that we see here. This judge thought that perhaps that she was not a danger to society. And I think the judge was really convinced by the fact that after her confession or her alleged confession, it took the government at least 2 months to file. So I think that was a big factor for the judge. But yeah, it's very surprising to me based upon these charges.
And Anna, what about the cover-up here? I mean, first she says, oh, she gets a text and he's going hiking with friends and she sees him drive off. And then she just happens to find the body. Finally, she admits to it. I mean, I know the term consciousness of guilt. There's some lying in there originally. Isn't that a red flag?
Absolutely. There's a lot of lying that's going on here. And you said it spot on, Mike, consciousness of guilt. I mean, when you talk about the truth never changes. But of course, when you talk about so many different cover-ups and so many different convoluted lies, it starts to make you question, well, what really is the truth? And you know that saying, the cover-up is always worse than the crime. And I think that's what the government was really arguing to the judge by saying, look, it's not like this woman came forward and was completely forthcoming. She came forward and gave us a web of convoluted lies or inconsistencies and things that changed along the way. And I think that's what the government was really relying upon in asking the judge to keep her in custody.
Yeah, I'm looking here at the affidavit in support of the complaint. FBI agent did the investigating. What gets you is she says they're having an argument, then they decide to travel to a park. I mean, how many people, when you're having an argument, especially an intense one, you're staying home and you're hashing it out. You're not, let's go to the park and go hiking. I've never heard of that. But again, that doesn't prove guilt or anything, just more details we're finding out. Anna, thanks so much. Mike Brooks is with us as well. As we can. It's all coming back to us now, isn't it? The term, the fog, the combat between Jodi Arias and Juan Martinez. And soon enough, we're going to hear it all over again, as there will be another penalty phase in the Jodi Arias case. Again, she's been convicted, first-degree murder, brutally murdering Travis Alexander. But the original jury couldn't come to a unanimous choice of life or death. From what we gather, was 8-4 voting death, but you need a unanimous decision here. That jury couldn't do it, so another jury set to be impaneled. Hearings coming up on Monday, by the way, and we expect to see Jodi Arias again. And there are some motions that are going to be dealt with. Back with us to talk about that, criminal defense attorney Anna Yum. All right, let's go through this, Anna, some of the different motions and get your thoughts on them. Number one, and we saw this in the Zimmerman case, potential jurors and their Twitter accounts, social media looked at. I'd imagine that's going to go through. You got to, what people have said in the past about Jodi Arias, if they see that they're biased one way or another, that should be known, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be just in light of all the media and this whirlwind of information, I think this is something that the judge really is going to let the attorneys question, whether it's their thoughts on Jodi Arias and what their opinions were. Because as you know, Mike, this case was just highlighted everywhere across the world. You'd have to live under a rock not to have heard of it. So I do believe that Judge Stevens is going to allow the attorneys to question prospective jurors as to what they've heard about this case and what their thoughts are on Jodi Arias as well as the death penalty. I definitely think this is something that she's going to let them do.
Yeah, here's another motion on the table, whether or not there's going to be a change of venue. To your point, what you just said, I think so many people know about it. And I think money is an issue in Arizona, as is in just about every state. I don't think there's going to be a change of venue. What do you think?
Absolutely not. I don't think there's going to be a change of venue at all. And this is my problem with the whole situation is that, Jodi Arias, you can't speak out of two sides of your mouth here. Part of the reason why there's been so much publicity is because she's gone out of her way to give interviews, of course, against the advice of her attorneys. She's gone out of her way to talk to the media, and she's publicizing everything. And now she's saying that she wants a change of venue because there's just so much media exposure. It's not going to happen. If I'm putting my prosecutor hat on, and if I'm Juan Martinez, I'm saying absolutely not. No way. Not in this situation.
Now, here's another one. I think this would go either way. We'll get your take on it. The jury sequestered or not? It's a money issue, but then again, the attorney's going to fight hard on this one. What do you think, Anna?
I don't think it's going to happen, Mike. I think Judge Stevens is not going to sequester the second jury, especially because the media has already been so involved in this case. Jodi Arias has been involved in this case, talking to the media. I don't think the judge is going to sequester the jury, especially in light of the finances and the costs. However, I do believe that she is going to give an admonition about, okay, no social media, no talking about this. Make sure that you don't post anything on Twitter or Facebook. I just don't see the sequestering happening, although I do believe the defense attorneys will put up a good fight.
Are you concerned about a fair and impartial jury in the sense of people watched it? Millions watched this trial unfold, and many watched it right here on HLN. There's been a Lifetime movie since about this. I mean, there's a lot of info out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If I'm the defense attorney on the case, of course I'm concerned about that. Of course I'm concerned about the potential for having a fair and impartial trial. But like you said, Mike, about the Zimmerman matter, everyone heard about that case as well. And I do believe that with our criminal justice system, and I do believe that with the processes of jury selection, I do believe there are going to be prospective jurors who can listen to everything and be able to deliberate in this situation. I mean, it'd be one thing if there's no media, but there's so much involved. I do think it's going to be possible. As hard as it might seem, I think it's going to be possible.
One other one I want to hit with you, Anna, whether or not cameras going to be allowed in the courtroom for live coverage. Do you think the judge is going to put the kibosh on that?
No, I don't. I think Judge Stevens allowed it the first time around, and I don't think that she's going to change her decision on the second time around. I mean, the public has a right to know. I think in light of the fact that everyone heard about it, saw it, live streaming the first time around, I don't think she's going to change her mind on that. As much as the defense attorneys, Kirk and Jennifer Wilmot, as much as they're going to put up the fight again, Jodi Arias dug her own grave. Like I said, she can't talk out of two sides of her mouth. I mean, she perpetuated this. I just don't see Judge Stevens granting that motion.
There you go. All right, we're expecting, again, that hearing Monday. We'll see Jodi Arias again, and we'll watch these motions hashed out in court one more time as well. And great stuff as well. All right, now this. For most, what a deal on airfares, and what's United going to do about it? For about 15 minutes yesterday, from what we gather, people are thumbing around trying to get a ticket booked. Next thing you know, computer glitch, and tickets are coming up for nothing. Throw in some tax, maybe $5, and people are going from D.C. to Hawaii for $5. One guy even bought about a dozen tickets through the year going from D.C. to Hawaii, D.C. to Minneapolis, and other routes as well. Now, any comment yet from United? One spokesperson says, as always, we will do what is appropriate. Pretty non-committal there. So what should United do? What will they do? Do they just honor the tickets? Let's go back to our Justice Squad, defense attorney Anna Yum. Anna, what do you think here? You think United's going to honor those freebies there, or close to, or are they going to fight it?
Mike, I think they should honor it. Let me just tell you one thing. I'm from Chicago, and I booked my ticket a couple of days ago. I wish I would have waited until yesterday to capitalize on this moment, because that would have saved me a lot of money. I think United should honor it. I mean, we're talking about a contract. We're talking about breach of performance if they don't. I mean, we're talking about families who capitalize on this moment because there was a glitch in their system. And from a PR perspective and from a legal perspective, they should honor it because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm sure I agree with you. I'm sure everybody else would agree with you as well. Hey, 15-minute mistake, tough. You know, customers always right, United. But what could they, I mean, how could United fight it? I'm looking at the past. One time United lost out on a fuel surcharge and lost out like on $130. Didn't fight that, still honored the tickets. Obviously, they're going to lose some more money with this. But what could they say to try and tell a customer, sorry, pay up?
Right. What they possibly could say is that there was no meeting of the minds, that they could say this was an honest mistake. And when we're talking about the intent of the meeting of the minds of a contractual relationship, I think they could say, look, it was an honest mistake. We obviously weren't going to offer a ticket to Hawaii or to Washington, D.C. for $0 or $5. That's not the purpose or the intent of the meeting of the minds of a contractual relationship. So I think they could try to get out of it by saying that, by saying, look, there was no consideration here. There was no contract, essentially. This was a mistake. But I don't know. I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I really think with so much, like I said, PR and so many people pounding their fists asking them to honor it, I think it's going to be hard for them to not honor it.
They would take a beating. But let's say the United tries somehow to use the argument you laid out there. What could a customer do? The guy who bought 12 tickets from D.C. to Hawaii, how would he fight back?
Customer would slap them with a lawsuit and say breach of contract, breach of performance. We're talking about you guys extended this offer. I accepted it. That's called consideration. That's called an exchange. And that's called meeting of the minds. I think a consumer is going to seek representation, file a lawsuit, and see what they can do to have United be accountable. I mean, it was a mistake. It was for 15 minutes, but come on. You gave me a contract and I honored it. I signed it. Let's go. Let's go to Chicago. Let's go to D.C. for the $5.
Let's go to Hawaii, right?
Right.
That sounds the best there. Well, you're right. You've laid it out very well there. And the PR beating that United would take, you're just better off. Cut your losses. Hey, we made a mistake. Enjoy your trips to Hawaii there, buddy boy. All right, Anna, thanks so much.
15 minutes, exactly.
How about this one here? And it's astonishing to hear the lyrics of that song. Back with us, criminal defense attorney Anna Yum. Anna, okay, so we had, basically, it sounds like mom went to the judge and said, I'll take care of her. Are you surprised that, that went a long way into Jordan Graham being let out, at least for now?
I'm extremely surprised, Mike. In fact, I'm really shocked that the judge agreed to let her out on her own recognizance without even posting bail. I mean, to put things in perspective, when we're talking about first-degree, second-degree murder types of cases, the judges typically set the bail at $1 million, $2 million, and sometimes even no bail. So for the judge just to be convinced by the mother to say, we'll take her in, I mean, that was very shocking to me. What this leads me to believe is that the judge thought that she wasn't going to be a flight risk, and that she wasn't a danger to society, and that she had strong ties to the community, which are all factors that, of course, the judge looks at in determining whether to grant an OR release or not.
Okay, there we're looking at some of the conditions of release. What concerns you most about this, Anna? Because I'm looking at, number one, she's talking to a friend about having second thoughts, and she was going to talk to Cody Johnson about this. And then you've got the cover-up, the different stories. She got a text from him, and he was going to go for a drive, and then she just happens to find the body. Then she finally fesses up and said they had this fight. He grabs her arm. She was mad and pushes him, and he ends up going over the cliff, and it was an accident. What do you piece all that together for me? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Mike, you just nailed it. I mean, what I'm really concerned about in this case is the web of lies and all these inconsistencies. I mean, she changed her story so many different times. And I think that's what the government was really arguing when they were telling the judge, you've got to reconsider this. This is not the right decision. I mean, it's not like she came forward and was forthcoming about what happened. I mean, days later, she says that she finds the body, and then she changes her story this time, and then she changes her story that time. And then she says that instead of pushing him from the front, she pushed him from behind. So, of course, my argument, if I'm the government or if I'm the prosecutor, is saying we can't believe anything she says. She's completely not credible. She's changed her statements. How do we know that she's not a threat or a danger to society if something like this happened and her newlywed husband gets pushed off the cliff?
Yeah, and there's just those common sense things that aren't adding up. And I'm not saying that it's going to result in some kind of conviction down the road. But, if it's an accident, why not just call authorities right away? You're upset, tell them what happened. Pushing someone from the back near a cliff. And then the last one is that they're having an argument. Then they decide to go hiking at a park. A lot of red flags go off there. We'll see how it plays out. Anna, great work as always. We're also watching, by the way, as we see some more footage there, what's going on in Colorado.